welcome back. My name is Shamika and this is Check the Rhymes. I am super excited about today's show as always. Joining me today, I have Dr. Kendall Jasper and his brother Kainon Jasper, and you may know them as Doc and the Dude. And we're going to talk about relationships, mental health, Black media, like no holds barred conversation. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Joining me today here at Check the Rhymes, I have Dr. Kendall Jasper and his brother Kainon Jasper. Welcome to Check the Rhymes, y'all.
What's up?
Thank you for having us.
Well, we got to kick this off first by, I want you to kind of introduce yourselves to everybody, let them know who you are, where you're from, and just so they know, I was calling y'all Doc and the Dude in my intro, but, give us a little bit of background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, I'll let the elder statesman, Kainon Jasper, start off. Go ahead. Older brother.
Oh, okay.
She didn't even know that. She didn't know who was oldest. So
wait, what's the age difference?
5 years. I'm 5 years older than him. I know you can't tell, but
That's how I do my sister. We're 6 years apart, and I'm like, she's the oldest.
Yeah. The question is a testament to my handsomeness.
Yeah, and some of those products in his medicine cabinet.
My name is Kainon Jasper. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Son of two wonderful parents and proud father. It's a great relationship guy. Wife and I have two beautiful children, and just basically astute businessman at this point. You know what I'm saying? I think that coming from where we come from, it just takes major steps to get to this point. So I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and I've been able to be pretty successful in certain areas of business and do marketing and advertising, more on the strategic side of things and some experiential marketing. But obviously my proudest work is the work that I'm doing with my brother. And in regards to the mental health path that we're on. And let me explain the Doc and the Dude a little bit more. Clearly, Kendall's the doctor.
Okay. And
then, and I'm not, you know what I mean? But what I have done is, studied under him very close. And because became a part of having our own mental health facilities, I've got years and years of experience being up personal and involved in developing certain therapies and stuff like that. So that's been the work that I've been championing the most. And that's what brings us here. It's a lot more. Yes, who asked me about myself, man. How long you got? I could talk.
Right. Well, that's good. That's a good nutshell.
We get into it in a further conversation.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, well, I'll be a little more succinct. As you previously stated, Dr. Kendall Jasper, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. The younger looking brother of Kainon and Sean Jasper, just so we're clear, with no products at all needed. Grew up in Brooklyn, lived here in Charlotte, North Carolina for a long time now though. So Charlotte is home. As my brother said, we've had probably 11 plus years now of owning mental health agency, starting here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then, branching out to the state of South Carolina, Louisiana, but expanded definitely now to doing a lot of work across the country in various forms, from program development to consultation to, more therapy related activity. So.
Okay. Well, welcome to both of you. And thank you for the introductions, because y'all said it better than I could. So first topic, because I'm just going to throw some topics out there. We'll just talk about it. One of the things that I have also noticed with this election process, with this whole pandemic, and even before, there's always this mantra of protect Black women at all costs, which of course you should. But so my question is, we say that the men will jump on board, Black men, but then the minute something happens, the Black woman is disrespected. For example, Meg Thee Stallion, when she got shot, everybody was like, you know, protect Black women. And then when she pointed out to who the shooter was, then it was like people started to turn their, or at least a lot of the men turned their back on her to take his side. So I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that.
First of all, that's not what I saw. I mean, you may be much more attached to it than me. What I saw is that there was a whole lot of missteps there on both parts. I'm definitely not taking his side, you know, sitting there with a pistol out around somebody that you know or something like that. Nah, I don't take his side for that at all, you know. But I also want to know, I want to bring this to a real live conversation that probably some people are scared to say, but I'm not. The fact is that, no, I'm an advocate for protecting Black women. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was raised. That's how me and all my brothers and every man in my family was raised. Mm-hmm. Any woman who's ever been in our presence, they'll swear on a stack of Bibles, yo, I feel safe when I'm around them.
Right.
That's the tone we set. Now, I cannot protect you if you are unable to sometimes take instruction from me. If I see a terrain that you may not be familiar with, and I'm trying to educate you on that terrain, on a different kind of page, you know, then it's impossible for me to protect you. So in the position of a Megan, who I love as an artist, I enjoy her music and everything. I don't know her personally,
right?
But you cannot project saying, yo, I'm going to have a hot girl summer and I'm going to be doing all of this stuff, whatever, and don't think that there's consequences that come with that. Mm-hmm. That's unrealistic, you know, because now what you're attracting the lower mindset of certain people. Like, okay, that's what you sharing yourself to be. Well, that's how I'm going to treat you. It's this call and response thing, you know? So of course I'm going to protect you if you're around. But if you're doing some things that are making yourself available for people, you know, predators or people who don't make good decisions,
right,
then you have responsibility there as well. It's not the first time this dude acted up around her. Yeah,
exactly.
You know, and what he 5'2", 5'3", he probably been acting up. So
right, yeah, he been probably acting up. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I'm kind of hung in the balance there. What I'll say is that I think that from a impact and conditioning standpoint, Black men and Black women have been conditioned to be pitted against each other for a long time now, right? And I think that goes 400 plus years ago to the psychology of racism and how the consistent attempts to separate, create barriers, set a tone on a mindset of pitting Black folks against each other.
Yeah.
Male versus female, house Negro, field Negro. I think that it plays itself out in current day in various forms. And I think that's just one of the ways that it plays itself out. We have a strong distrust of each other because we have a strong distrust probably of ourselves and who we are and understanding who we are individually, and then that coming to the collective, quite honestly. And then you look at the barriers that are currently in place for Black men and women, but in particular as a Black man, I can speak to my personal experience. Some of the barriers that are in place for me, just to be somewhat successful, it doesn't leave a lot of room to then, deal with any form of conflict from anyone else.
Right.
Right. Including Black women. So if we both feel like there's an all-out assault on us, Black men feel like there's an all-out assault on them, Black women feel like there's an all-out assault on them, right? There's going to be a lot of sensitive and highly irritable individuals that are communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make for great communication flow. It doesn't make, for great relationships and a level of understanding. Because the anxiety and the tension is always very high. And then there's a perception and expectation that's been set that we're not supposed to treat each other in a harmonious way.
Right. So you brought up another point that I wanted to talk about real quick. Communication between Black men and Black women. And this is, I just kind of sit and scroll on Twitter and I just kind of get a vibe from like conversations. But the conversation on there the other day was about ghosting. Why can't grown people use their words if they're not interested anymore or they're not interested at all instead of just falling off the face of the earth and vanishing? What is that about?
Okay, can I take this?
Yeah.
So people have, part of the reason why people have difficulty with participating in the therapy process, people have a tremendous issue with introspection and truth / honesty, right? Starting with yourself, being honest with yourself, being truthful with yourself, and then being able to then be honest and truthful with other people. The reality is most people aren't people who deal with conflict, and I don't necessarily mean physical conflict, but they view my honest opinion with you and maybe it not agreeing what your perception is, that maybe as a source of conflict that's going to lead to an uncomfortable conversation. And most people don't find themselves comfortable trying to have what they perceive as an uncomfortable conversation.
Right.
So it is, although I think that it is cowardice, right, to ghost someone, right? I think that people rationalize it to say, I think that's the best way for me to go, right? Because I avoid conflict and I avoid having to have an uncomfortable conversation with someone. And the other part of it is ultimately, if I'm honest with you, I trick myself into thinking that's maybe what you don't want me to be honest with you, right? Because the difference between a lie and the truth is a lie has to make sense and the truth doesn't.
Right.
So sometimes there's some pushback on my honesty. Listen, maybe I'm ghosting you because I'm just not feeling you anymore, right? And I can't really put my hands on what that is, right? Or maybe you may perceive it as being shallow, but it matters to me and it's important to me, right? And it's strong enough for me to say I no longer want to communicate with you, right? But then the why, right? I need to understand the why because it has to be more than just that.
Yeah.
Right. And
hold on, let's before we go down that rabbit tough. Listen, there may have been some things that happened before that point, but somebody's tried to explain something to you. They tried to tell you, look, I'm not really feeling that particular part of what you're doing and things of that nature. I don't really like the way you approach me like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, why you ain't called me last night? I was whatever. Maybe I just didn't call you last night.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, nah, you was here. You was it. You know what? If you do that enough, bye. There's no reason for me to talk to you after that. Like, I don't, certain things, in certain situations, I don't owe you. That's
Well, let me give you an example. Like the one I saw on Twitter, it was on a blurred dating confession thread. The girl said that she was ghosted after she was engaged to the guy, that he was somewhere in New York and he said, I'm about to go through this tunnel. I'm going to call you back. She never heard from him again.
I don't know. That's not, I don't think that's even ghosting. That's just engaged to someone. I don't think that's ghosting. I thought you was talking to somebody, whatever, and then all of a sudden.
That's what she called it, ghosting.
That's disturbing, and that's my professional and personal opinion. One, that's very disturbing. No, I think that
that wasn't ghosting. That was an escape.
Yeah, right? Like he could have just. Why, if he didn't want to be with her, why propose?
Well, I think again, we're getting into. Kainon was kind of walking right back to my point. So I appreciate him about a truth and a lie.
Yeah.
Right? People have a difficult time, and it's uncomfortable to have those types of conversations, right? Because everything isn't meant to be explained or require more of an explanation than has already been given, right? It doesn't always have to make sense, right? And what's good for you may not be good for me, right? And that doesn't mean that has to make sense. That means that we're just different people, right? But we start off more often than not always in the best and most honest place anyway.
That's
right?
True.
Because you're meeting a representative of me as opposed to the true me. And once some of that wears off, then, okay, this is who you really are. Because I'm spending a lot of time trying to please you, impress you, and putting my best foot forward. And sometimes men and women end up doing a lot of fronting. Like, let's just be clear.
Yeah.
Right? Not keeping it, 100 with each other in that respect. So, once that facade is done and once that kind of, once the flame from that is gone, then we're starting to get into who we are with each other. And sometimes we don't necessarily like that. And, it's kind of hard.
Black media. So, we have these iconic brands like, Soul Train was sold to Viacom. Ebony and Jet sold to whatever company it was, and then they didn't want to pay us writers. I was part of that lawsuit that had to sue because I wanted my coins. And it's just like watching the decline of these iconic brands, and now here we got Essence. Seems like it's declining. So I wanted to get your thoughts on what is happening with our Black media. What do we do to save it? Like, what help?
One of the things that I always say is that, we don't really understand. Black people, we don't understand the full impact of it because we look at it as, media. We look at media channels as conduits for entertainment more than strategy building and sharing, information sharing. And we don't look at it that way. So oftentimes, if you have let's take these magazines, let's take publications like the Essence magazine, beautiful publication from when it started up until even up until now, and I don't know what the state of it is now. I heard some things, but those folks over there, like Richard Dennis and his team, they're very smart people. They're not dumb people. So we may be seeing a surface of things. I'm pretty sure that there's an alternate plan. Knowing him and knowing how he thinks, very cerebral, I'm pretty sure there's an alternate plan. But what I will say is that I don't like the way we talk about protecting each other, protecting people. Well, first thing we got to do is we got to protect our entities that fight for us, that have the ability to advocate for us, right? Something did happen with Essence that was very disturbing to me because it was almost like an attack, like it was an anonymous group
yes,
of Black women who were harmed by Essence and stuff. And some of the people that were participating, quite frankly, Essence was just bought not long ago. So some of the people that were talking about issues that were even before this current group even bought them. One. And number two, you're talking about an entity that started a skincare brand with Black women and Black people in mind, motivated by a Black mother and a Black auntie, whatever, and then that forth, built it to a mega, empire, respectively speaking. And then when he sold it to buy a media company that could probably make more sundials and Shea Moistures and stuff, he dedicated $250 million toward Black women starting business. You mean to tell me that an anonymous group is going to supersede all of that with some accusations that weren't even justified, and asked for him to step down and some of his people to step down. And what did he do? He gracefully said, you know what, I'm gonna step down to this investigation. Now, they did an investigation. The investigation came up and fell short of everything. It was proven, but not, look at the harm that you have done.
Right.
Look at the harm that you have done, right? Now, is he supposed to just reinvest whatever? He probably will, because that's what he's rooted in. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's completely unfair, you know? And what's even worse, you were anonymous. How about you show yourself now?
We were talking about why Black imagery matters in our media. And I know for me, one of the exciting things I got hype about was, and I don't know if you guys are aware, Cynthia Horner brought back Right On Magazine, but she brought it back as Right On Digital. And I was hyped because I'm like, you know what? We need that. We need that. She brought that back, I think, in 2018. But, you know, of course, she's trying to stay with the times and make sure that the younger folks are getting their shine, which, you know, I don't know if, you know, some publications will kind of just, like with Jet, how they ended up skewing their audience to millennials. And then that left us Gen Xers and whatever, the boomers and the rest of them left us out. So, like, where are Gen Xers supposed to go? Where are the baby boomers supposed to go?
Well, so that goes back to a mentality question, right? You know, and it's interesting that, you know, I was having this conversation with my 19-year-old son last night. Sometimes they have a misconception. He's like, "But Dad, y'all generation, you know, we going over to technology." I mean, I had to volley back to him. I said, "You mean the same technology that you use?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?" Like, I was like, "You do know that everything that you aware of, I'm aware of too."
Right.
You know, like, these are my friends that work and create this stuff that you're using. So we're not disconnected. You know, we're not disconnected. We're actually very much intertwined. But that's what media is sometimes used to do. That's what, you know, you separate and you do target marketing and you things like that. You make somebody believe that they're very much different than somebody else standing next to you. So when you're talking about these images and stuff like that, right? You know, so the brain is a creature of repetition. So whatever has most access to the brain is probably going to control it, you know.
Right.
You know, so it's not even quality at times; it's more volume.
Okay.
If you show negative imaging, songs, videos, sooner or later the subconscious is going to become conditioned to that, and that's, you know, it's critical to propaganda movements. That's how propaganda movements work, you know? So seeing less value in a woman comes from seeing a woman constantly devalued.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you are on media channels and you are constantly overexposing and all you are doing is showing me your physical attributes and so on, that is what I'm going to see.
Yeah.
So the importance of Black media and the responsibility of Black media companies, which was the responsibilities of those companies, Essence and Ebony and Jet back then, was to show Black people in positive imaging, so that would be within your subconscious, right? That's the importance of what Kendall spoke about, us telling our own stories. You know what I mean? But if you out there and you literally, my complexion, and you got, honestly, you know, I'm not hating, but I'm just telling the truth. You know, you wear a blonde, straight hair, and you got blue eyes, and you showing your ass on every 5 minutes in so many different angles and things like that. That's not me discrediting you. That's you discrediting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just a witness to that. And if I tell you, yo, you probably shouldn't be doing that, because I ain't gonna go, oh, now you're trying to control me, whatever. No, I'm trying to protect you, foolish.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's keep it a buck. You gotta be able to listen. like for instance, I'm sorry, and I'll let Kendall jump in, but I gotta trust you as a woman. If my woman or my sister is like, yo, don't watch out for this girl right here, or you shouldn't do this because these women think this, whatever, and I don't listen, then how can they protect me?
Right.
How can I feel protected? I'm not even listening to the people who care about me, trying to give me some game.
Mm-hmm.
What's amazing is, and this is why I love my profession, right? And I love our profession, right? Because everything can be explained through the prism of psychology, right? Study of human behavior, right? Study of the mind and human behavior. So Kainon mentioned conditioning, right? So Carter G. Woodson a long time ago in Miseducation Negro said that if you condition, a black person to walk through the back door, right? They'll start to walk through the back door without even asking if that's the interest they're supposed to go in, because they've been conditioned to behave in that way, right? And he wasn't off the mark. So the imagery and the consistent imagery is about a reconditioning, right? It's about the extinction of a certain perception and train of thought, and the conditioning of new types of train of thought, and then behavior and perceptions, right? But what ends up happening with us is, and I'm not here to talk about rats and cats and dogs and the conditioning paradigms, but it is apropos, right? So the hardest way to extinguish behavior is when you go to an unscheduled reinforcement paradigm with them. And what that means is, let's say every time you do something, I reinforce you. I positively reinforce you for it, right? I give you something that you appreciate.
Right.
I'm going to condition you to consistently engage in that behavior because you're going to seek that out.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you start doing it, every time you did it before, I reinforced you positively. Now, the first time you do it, I don't reinforce you. This time, the third time you do it, I reinforce you. The next time, the seventh time you do it, I reinforce you. Next time, the 13th time you do it, I reinforce you, right? You're always going to engage in that behavior.
Right.
Because you're looking for that positive reinforcement. And then when you're just about ready to quit, I hand it to you. So now you're like, I have hope again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some people, let's look at politics. Some people thought we arrived when we elected Barack Obama as president.
Right.
Right? So some of the steam associated with the things that we were fighting for, we were reinforced. Every time we think that, we're fighting to take a further step as a race, as a culture, right? Okay, they're giving us something. All right, we can chill now. Mm-hmm. Well, now Donald Trump shows up. And he's like, nah, dog, we taking all of that away. Okay, we fighting again.
Right.
The question is, Joe Biden is now president. Are we going to wake up and realize that this unscheduled way that they are reinforcing us is the way to go? Are we going to consistently have an agenda and say that there's not going to be any smoke and mirrors? You're not going to pull the wool over my eyes. There are things that need to be corrected for us as a people, and we are going to stay consistent. But getting back to black media, that's why it matters. Because if I turn on a media station every day and you continue to show me, hey, bro, you ain't got there yet, fam. I know you driving around in your Bentley and you got some Alexander McQueens on your feet and you think everything is popping. It's not all good. I'm sorry. I have some Alexander McQueens too, Kay. My bad. I know you like to hear those.
He's like, wait now.
But and I didn't mean that as, you know what I mean? That was kind of tongue in cheek. But the point is, bringing it back, that's why the media matters. Because they have to be able to tell all of the stories.
Absolutely. And that's why I created my platform, because I wanted a place for, like, for example, like, people like you and then like some of our legends that like don't have a place to tell their stories. So like I'm the one talking to some of these old school folks.
That's some tough questions there.
Yeah.
That's some tough questions. We ain't scared. I ain't scared to answer.
But that's why I created my platform, because at that time when I decided to create it, I was like, there's this empty space. There wasn't anywhere at that time. And now, of course, like with the pandemic, it seems like people are starting to pop up everywhere doing their own thing. But, you know, and again, it goes back to we have to support each other.
I mean, I'm not supporting everything.
Well, no, not everything. you gotta still maintain standards.
I don't think we support everything, right? But I do think that we don't miss the opportunity to help that person who presents whatever their product is that has shortcomings, with an opportunity to say, hey, maybe this is how we get this up to a different standard.
Right.
Or we jump in and say, what level of assistance can we provide to help get this to a certain standard? Right. Are there relationships that I have that I can bridge a gap and make a connection that can help you? Right. And that's how we, you know, kind of rise, you know, have a rising tide.
Right.
So all the boats, you know, can elevate. But I think that sort of cancel culture wise, we end up again in a space where we like, yo, we're not dealing with this, right? He's whack. We're not dealing with that. You know, I learned a long time ago, we was on the athlete's foot, right? Years ago, 1998, right? We're on the athlete's foot.
You were a couple.
And I'm working in the athlete's foot, and my brothers and sisters would leave the mall, Foot Action, Foot Locker, right? And they would come over to the athlete's foot, and they would know that it's black owned. And the first question they would ask is, yo, bro, what's up? You gonna show us some love? Can I get a discount? Right? And my question to them was, you say you just left Foot Locker. Did you ask them for a discount?
Hello?
Like, damn, why wouldn't you want to give me the same or not, or if not that, more, right? Because in hopes that I recycle that to my own community anyway.
Right.
Or at least give me the chance to tell you that I'm gonna give you a discount. But don't come through the door like, yo, I know you're gonna hook me up, brother to brother. Nah, fam, we have that reversed.
I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna hook you up. Come out back.
Let me get that 75% off. You're right. You're right.
Comes out back ready to hook you up real quick. Fucking that craziness for me. Like, but I ain't got no problem telling somebody the truth either. You know, listen, you asking a question like that, like, you know, I tell people things all the time. You know, there's a quote where it's like, you know, a wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a foolish person can learn from a wise answer, right? When you ask me a dumb question, then I'll shoot fire back at you. You know, and people think, oh, damn, yo, this dude is a little aggressive. Yeah, I am sometimes, because I got to protect this space. You ain't come bring that nonsense around me. That's my right as a man, you know, and I have to be able to be that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't get in my way of being that.
And I think that that's where you see the most clearest distinction between the doc and the dude, because my response to that is, there's no such thing on my end as a dumb question.
Yeah.
Right? And that creates sort of an interesting distinction, being raised in the same space. But
foolish.
Yeah, he said dumb question, but it's okay. We can check the tape.
Foolish.
Let's not do this, Kainon.
Siblings.
We got a therapy session later. Let's not do this, Kainon. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, that's sort of the distinction. So for me, and Kainon protects me sometimes in that space. Like, Kay, why are you listening to that? And I have to remind him, Kay, to a certain degree, I have to listen to it. I have to listen to it all because I have to decipher it and interpret it and then be able to reframe some of it back and allow them to understand that some of what they're saying isn't making good sense.
Right? There's different roles there because he's right. That's his profession. That's what he's trained to do. He's somewhat sensitive to certain people's needs and stuff. And I have some degree of that. But at some point, I'm like, yo, know who you come in to talk to. Respect who you come in to talk to as well. Yeah. So think some things out before you come over here wasting my time or wasting our time. You know,
Right.
he might be nice enough to listen to you and all that. I might pause you and be like, listen, I don't go get your shit together before you come over here. You know, you owe us that. Nobody got time to be wasting with you.
Yeah.
That boy sound like Busta Rhymes. Row, row, like a dungeon dragon.
But it's necessary sometimes. People get caught up in this practice of, oh, this is how I feel, and this just because I feel this way, or this is the way I've been doing things, that it's okay. Sometimes it's not okay, and I gotta let you know it's not okay. You know what I'm saying? I deserve that right to do that.
Right.
You know, and you know, respectfully, I let there's times where he's had to show me moments in therapy, right? Where I'm like, oh, okay. But that is the distinction between the doc and the dude. Because I'm not bound by certain doctor situations.
Right.
So I can be very therapeutic. There's certain things that I'm allowed to say and do. And my behaviors don't jeopardize my profession sometimes. Well,
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to both of you today. And I want to thank you for coming to Check the Rhymes and just having some real, open conversations. And, I'm sure the viewers will have something to say about the things we said. And I hope the girl that I mentioned her business, on here, I hope she don't come after me. But
you don't know who she is.
Y'all don't, but I do.
I made him ghost her.
Right. Exactly. So thank you again for coming to Check the Rhymes. Where can people find you? Like, do you have a website? Are you on social media?
All that.
All that. Okay.
So find at Doc in the Dude. That's at DOCNDADUDE, and then the website is
JasperSite.com. So JASPERPSYCH.com. And then, not that, although we do get a lot of traffic, I have IG as well at Dr. Kendall Jasper. And then Kainon also has, an individual IG page that I know we get some traffic to.
KAINON_JASPER. So.
I appreciate y'all spelling it because some people, they.
Yeah, that's Kendall.
I get emails, even though it says Check the Rhymes, they will still spell rhymes wrong, even though it's like, it's right there, but they still spell it wrong. But anyway, thank you guys again so much, and thanks for coming back when the Zoom dipped out on us and everything.
Thank you for having us.